This is The Sit Down, and I'm here with actors Olivia Munn, Emma Greenwell, and Joely Richardson, the stars of the new spy thriller, TheRook. Thank you all for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Bringing in with a little dance with that intro music I saw.
It was lovely music.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to get into this show. It, of course, is a supernatural spy thriller, and Olivia, your character goes to London after there's been this big, mysterious incident. So did you have to research a lot of, like, spy or secret agent material to get into this character?
I was actually really fortunate because not that much earlier than filming this, I had come off a show where I played a CIA operative, so I had spent a lot of time talking with ex-CIA members, and two women and this one man, and so I did a lot of intense research. The interesting thing I thought was so fascinating is that most of the best snipers in the CIA are women. This is what they told me, because they're just so precise with their shooting. So a lot of times it's depicted to be the men, but it was the women.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah. Well, I mean, your character, Miffany, like, wakes up, has no idea who she is, which was, like, such utter a moment of panic and would be my biggest nightmare. How do you get in the headspace to play such, like, a fearful, panicked moment like that?
Takes a lot. I don't know how to answer that with that. I had short-term memory loss, had an accident where it wasn't that I didn't know who I was, but I'd lost like 2 weeks of my life effectively. So I sort of drew on that a bit, and then also just really thinking about what it would feel like to wake up in a body and not really recognize it or your surroundings and have no idea. So I only lost my personal memory. I still have all the practical sort of things and just sort of play pretend, I guess.
And you could just draw on that.
Yeah, and just sort of, and also it was pretty scary. These bodies were pretty disgusting that were there. So, and also I didn't know which ones were real and which ones were fake. So it was just sort of playing in that moment.
I didn't know about the actual short-term memory loss that she had, and I thought it was so interesting because I've been wanting to ask her as we'd be seeing screenings of the show, and her performance in it is just so nuanced, and it's so, I mean, you can see that somebody is so, discombobulated. I mean, you're just so, you have this combination of just this fear and vulnerability and this, like, inner strength, and it made so much sense that she was pulling off something that really happened. I mean, it's such a fascinating thing just to watch, don't you think? It's just somebody waking up and just not knowing who they are, and also being very, just beaten up and physically, which is an interesting concept.
But also, my feelings was, we've been talking about it, anyone who's ever had a blackout is that terrible fear the next morning of, oh my God, what happened? Right. What did I say? What did I do?
On that?
And most people can draw on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, if it was me after blackout, my performance would have been just me going through my cell phone going, who did I text?
The calls.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
What have I done?
Oh my God.
Do your friends confiscate your phone if you've had, like, one too many?
I don't think they're good enough friends now.
I'll be that friend.
Gotta find some new friends. Well, speaking of the personal connection to this material, Joely, you're from London, and as I understand, this project was the first time you were able to film in the city. Really? Did that bring back any memories? Not quite the first time.
I mean, the first time I got to do a television series at home.
Got it.
Means a great length of time at home. 101 Dalmatians we shot in London, a few other projects, but never sort of really highlighting every single English London famous landmark. So that was very exciting. And then to work there continuously with such a great group of people and such a scary, interesting story it was. And then, I play the head of the Secret Services, and she plays the king, and she's a very powerful woman, but keeps everything private. So what I love about, say, us three, because we're the only three here in our show, is everyone's just got a very singular agenda and singular characteristics, which always makes for interesting chemistry.
One of the things you mentioned are powerful women on this show, and this show not only has you, 3 women leads, it has 2 female showrunners, and does having an all-woman led and kind of anchored show change the dynamic on set at all?
I think not particularly. Yes. Emma, what do you
but I was saying what I said the other day, which is that it doesn't really change the dynamic. People are talented. They're very talented showrunners, very talented writers, amazing female directors who are all incredibly good at their job. the only difference is perhaps that conversations are wrapped up a lot quicker. There's a sort of understanding amongst women, a communication that we have, and so
Shorthand when you're speaking with
exactly.
women. Yeah.
That's probably the difference. And just support. It felt very exciting to be part of a show that really was led by women.
It felt part of the new wave of a 50-50 discussion, which was really healthy. But everyone's professional, so it's not sort of gender related, really. Your director's a director, and you respect them. So, do you see what I mean?
And our director, Kari Skoglund, she, is a woman, which, leads into what you're talking about, but she's also fantastic. The night before I started filming, she had won the BAFTA for Handmaid's Tale. So it's not just that that the creators were looking for women, they were looking for just the best
top
people,
talented
of course, for the job.
Yes. We have a fabulous male lead, Adrian Lester, who sadly couldn't be with us today.
I love it.
But it is very exciting. For us as women to get to play these roles.
Yeah, well, one thing I think we're getting at is the kind of cultural moment that we're in. And Olivia, you've been outspoken in particular about your own experiences and the Me Too movement. And do you feel like sets are changing, or are people still turning, a blind eye to, people abusing their power?
Well, I think a lot of people have spoken out since, and they've spoken out about things happening on sets, in the post Me Too era. So it's still happening, and there are going to be people that are hoping that they can just push past it and people can, just forget, that we have stuff with, the Afflecks, both of them. They just keep going and hoping that, nobody's going to, find out. We've got, Tarantino, who admitted to abusive behaviors on set and also admitted to knowing what Harvey Weinstein was doing. Yeah, if we get enough people to join on board and do his movies, we all just kind of keep moving forward. And, for me, I think the frustrating thing that has always been there, and as you see it happening still, is that, when most people mess up, we have to go to the back of the line and earn our way back up. But then there are these certain men who, when they mess up, they kind of go, oh, sorry, my bad, and then just resume their place in line. And the thing is that, not that they're not incredibly talented in their own right, but when you are given the opportunity to have any kind of power and you abuse that power, I believe that you immediately lose all positioning and that you don't get to have that power anymore. And you need to make room for the other people who can come in and have an opportunity to be great directors or writers or producers or actors. And that, the abusers need to go to the back of the line. And, redemption is possible, but you got to earn it just like everybody else.
I think it's fantastic that we're part of a movement where we all know proper boundaries of behaviour and that people stick to them. What I think's interesting as part of the discussion is that everyone talks about strong women, and that's a really important conversation. But equally important is strong men. Equally important is vulnerable women and humility. As women, we have to, and as men, we have to have humility. And do you know what I mean? I think sometimes all the stickers can send out wrong messages because the people who aren't feeling empowered are like, well, there's something wrong with me. Why am I not a strong person? It's like, you're okay. You're exactly as you are. We're all part of this wonderful big mix and we're all equal. Is the point.
So that point about men too, something that I think is important for people to understand is that this is not a woman's issue. It's an abuse of power issue. We know that because Anthony Rapp has spoken out, Terry Crews has spoken out. So it just so happens that people in positions of power, are usually heterosexual men. So that's why more women are victims. But it's not about just women. It's all of us together.
Mm-hmm. And we need men to be having these conversations with us and, having their own conversations with each other.
For me, that's the biggest thing I've noticed is now it's a conversation that I feel comfortable having. If someone makes me uncomfortable or if I see bad behavior, I feel empowered by these very brave women who have come forward and this discussion that is happening to say something and the backlash. What I hope is that if you feel uncomfortable, feel like someone's doing something wrong, you can say to them, hey, that's not okay. And it doesn't become an argument. It's accepted and say, I'm sorry, and let's rectify that.
Well, I could easily keep on talking about all of this with you all day long. So thank you so much for joining me and taking the time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Alex.
And TheRook premieres on Sunday, June 30th on Starz. Stay tuned for more AM to DM.